financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is, what is the truth when it comes to solving tax debt? And that being the case, we have Jenny Lingl here to tell us the truth.
Hi, Ken. My favorite topic today, taxes.
Jeffrey Kirschner, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
We're going to add in some disability to our person who has a tax problem today for you, Jeff.
I'm awake and ready.
Brian Small,
A pleasure. I have a question for you.
fire away.
The truth? Can you handle the truth?
You can't handle the truth.
We'll talk about all of that today.
Still always been my favorite movie.
Absolutely.
There are a few good people here today. How's that?
Very nice.
Okay, the truth about, first thing I want to talk about is tax settlement firms. There was a great article in Investopedia. Just go to investopedia.com, put tax settlement firms if you want to read it. It talks about
Wait.
what these...
You're reading stuff the stuff that you read. Can I be you? It's so exciting. Investopedia.
Well, I don't want to get distracted here, but I don't go and sit down at the computer and say, I'm going to read what's new in Investopedia today. Generally speaking, it's topical. I was Googling in tax settlement firms because I wanted to see if there were any articles about them. And Investopedia happened to have a good article, and then I read it.
Okay.
So it is research-oriented. But the thing is, you need to understand what these tax settlement firms are about. And here's how Investopedia summarized it. These tax settlement companies mirror the debt settlement firms, which we've talked about on the show. Debt settlement is not a good strategy. Debt resolution that we do is, but debt settlement is kind of a con.
But they have fantastic commercials.
They do,
all the
and
time.
they have big marketing budgets. You got to believe that, and so do the tax settlement firms. They claim to specialize in tax settlements, and they all claim to have a litany of experts who are former IRS employees and who can go to bat for the clients. But when you get into it, there's usually very few lawyers that are even associated with those companies, and the majority of the time, the person that you're talking to is no more than a minimum wage customer service representative, except the person that you talk to on day one when you call is a commissioned salesperson who is trying to get your credit card number. And what about pricing?
Their pricing is pretty ridiculous. What I find is the first day they get you on the phone, they start asking you a little bit of information. Their goal is to get somewhere between $3,000 and $6,000 on average from you to put you into a program, and they take that fee. It's non-refundable, and they haven't even done the analysis of whether or not you qualify for that program or whether that program is even the best thing for you to do.
Investopedia said the amount that they typically try and get from you as the initial deposit is the amount they've determined that you either have available on a credit card or cash in the bank by asking you the questions. Right. So it's all about getting your money, and the whole thing is the big buzzword. Everybody wants to settle their tax debt for pennies on the dollar.
I want something for nothing.
Right.
No, I'm more than happy to give you a penny for every dollar of tax debt that I owe. It's a great concept. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And the offer and compromise, sometimes you can do that, right?
Absolutely. The offer and compromise is a great program. And I can do the commercials, $100 when I owed $100,000. I had a client who owed $1.7 million. We settled for $7,000. But the important thing to know about the offer and compromise program is it's still a math formula. There's still components that we have to walk through in order to determine whether you qualify. And a lot of people say, well, since the Fresh Start Initiative, and they throw that out and make it look like, yes, I need to file an offer, I need to pay you. And although the Fresh Start Initiative did make it easier, and I'm filing a lot more offers than I did prior to that program, it's still a math formula. It's not just a throw a percentage out and let's see if they'll negotiate. You have to walk through the steps.
See, and here's the thing that is annoying to us. The steps are not complicated in order to make an assessment as to whether you can successfully do an offer in compromise. I'll make it real simple. If you've got $50,000 in an IRA, or $100,000 in an IRA, or a 401k, they're going to take 70% of that money.
What they try to figure out with that is usually around 70%. They're trying to figure out the tax and the penalty that you would have to pay, and then say your bottom line is X.
So if you have, here's the point: if you've got retirement money, you're not going to be able to do an offer in compromise unless you use that 70% of your IRA or your 401k.
Well, there's sometimes a few little tricks that we can do, that we can use some of that money and not be considered dissipated. Or, for example, we put a new roof on a client's house. We took the money out of the 401k, put the new roof on, so they can't look at the money twice. So I said, well, it's on the house. There was no equity in the house still.
So there are some strategies, but here's the key point. When you're calling these national firms, they don't even do the diligence to find out what your assets are and what you have. Right away, they're telling you, we'll put you into this offer in compromise. It's a great program. Here's the fees. Here's how it works. You have a money-back guarantee, whatever that means. And they put you into the program, and then 8 months later, you get rejected because, let's suppose you had $100,000 in your IRA. They're not going to accept, and you owed $100,000 in tax. They're not going to accept an offer of $1,000. They're going to want $70,000 of that IRA towards your $100,000 tax liability, and you never want to do that. The key is you need to do it the right way.
I was going to say, I find that when I'm talking to people about the situation, they'll say, oh yeah, I've got this and this and this, and I owe the IRS $30,000, and I went through the whole program, and they rejected me. And I always say, so how much, do you have any retirement? Oh yeah, I've got my 401k, it's $80,000. They should have told them in the first 5 seconds that they didn't qualify for the offer in compromise.
Because there's other strategies that you then use.
Absolutely. I do a free consultation before I take anybody's money so that I can tell you what you qualify for. If you qualify for an offer, how much that offer is going to be. And sometimes they say, you know what, you qualify for an offer, but it's still not your best solution. And there are often times where that happens.
Because bankruptcies are also another solution.
Or sometimes a statute.
All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. When we come back, we're going to figure out how to solve the tax problem the smartest way.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we've talked about the difference, or we've talked about how the tax settlement firms don't do the right thing, but let's focus now on how you do the right thing and how we go about resolving tax problems. And first thing is, are income taxes dischargeable in bankruptcy? Because tax settlement firms never address that.
So the answer is yes. However, whether you call an income tax settlement company or you call a bankruptcy firm around town, at the end of the day, most of them don't understand how income taxes can be dischargeable. They're not automatically dischargeable. There's a
test?
rule.
What's the rule?
So the rule is fairly straightforward. Did your income tax return that you're trying to discharge come due at least 3 years ago? Have you filed your income taxes for at least 2 years? And have you been assessed in the last 240 days? If your taxes came due at least 3 years ago, you filed them at least 2 years ago, and you haven't been assessed in the last 240 days, approximately 8 months, then your taxes are generally dischargeable. There are some exceptions. If you file a fraudulent tax return, that's never dischargeable.
If you don't file a tax return.
Well, if you don't file a tax return and the government files one for you, that's called a substitute for return, that's also never dischargeable. But income taxes, in general, do have a component that allows them to be discharged in a Chapter 7 or Chapter 13
that
bankruptcy.
three-pronged test.
Correct.
So often when I'm meeting with a client and they qualify for an offer and compromise, I don't stop there. My next question sometimes goes to what other debts they have. Sometimes there's credit card debt. Sometimes there's judgments against them, unpaid medical bills. So we take it a step further and we say, okay, you qualify for an offer, but let's look at what would a Chapter 7 do. If you qualify for a Chapter 7 and it can get rid of your income taxes, your credit card debt, the judgments, the unpaid medical bills, then maybe that's going to be the better way to go. We take it a step further. Sometimes you don't qualify for an offer and compromise because you have a 401k, but that becomes exempt for the most part in the bankruptcy, so maybe even though you don't qualify for an offer,
The Chapter 7 would be better than
we
that
can
point.
put you into a Chapter 7.
And another reason why you might pursue a Chapter 7 versus an offer is really straightforward. If you're one of those people who's self-employed, who's failed to file your tax returns over and over and over again,
Okay.
always has a liability every year because they don't pay in, then you're likely to repeat that history. I
Right,
mean,
and there's
and you have to be clean, as I understand it, for 5 years
Correct.
after you get an offer accepted, meaning you must file your taxes on time and pay the liabilities that you have when you file your taxes,
So you've got that stay clean rule on the offer and compromise.
which you don't have in a bankruptcy situation.
And understand something, when you explain that and said if you're one of those people that are self-employed, this is a common problem. People fall into tax problems for many different reasons, but the most common person that we encounter that falls into tax problems are the self-employed people that have to pay estimates. They're not having their taxes withheld from their paycheck. And what happens is you end up paying your estimates with your current year's income rather than your previous year's income, and then you hit a downturn in the business, and what happens is the cash isn't there to pay last year's taxes. It's not the way you want to do it, but a lot of people fall into that situation, and then you have the problem. You do an offer and compromise, even if you get it approved, if you fall off and you don't pay your taxes current for 5 years, what do?
Well, then they just default the offer and reinstate the original tax liability.
What about the money you paid on the offer? Do
Well,
you
it
get credit for it?
goes towards the taxes that you owed, but it's still
You've got the massive debt then.
you're back in the same position that you were, and then we also analyze maybe the offer doesn't work, maybe the Chapter 7 doesn't work, but then if you have to pay back your taxes in full, sometimes we then look to a Chapter 13 and say, you know what, you're going to have to pay back your taxes in full, but there's no money left over in the budget to pay that $60,000 you owed on your credit cards or that $100,000 that you owed for your medical bills. So in effect, We put you into a Chapter 13, which is basically just a payment plan with the Internal Revenue Service, and the rest of your creditors get zero.
So
Yeah,
there's
it's
lots
a
of
beautiful,
ways
it's a beautiful way to
to-
It's
use
almost
Chapter
a Chapter
13.
7.
It is. It's almost like getting a Chapter 7 discharge. It gives
We call
you
that the zero distribution plan.
a zero
Zero
dividend
dividend.
plan. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an absolutely perfect solution.
I want to fire some
when
questions.
bankruptcy is
I want to fire
is
some quick
appropriate.
questions
Sure.
to you, Jenny. What should I? We're going to play the what should I do game.
Okay.
What should I do if I haven't filed for several years?
Well, the first thing that I do is I usually either go to e-services or practitioner priority service to find out when was the last time you filed, did the IRS file any returns for you, and then we can get the wage and income transcripts for the years that you haven't filed so that you can go ahead and get those prepared.
If you don't have your records, is that okay?
That's okay, because what we can get is the wage and income transcripts, which will show everything that was reported. And then you'll have to do a good faith estimate, for example, if you're self-employed, for any expenses.
We got to get the returns filed so you're compliant with the
Correct.
IRS, and then if you have a liability, then we deal with it either as an offer in compromise, maybe bankruptcy down the road because you have to have the returns filed for 2 years, or we do one of our other strategies. Okay. What if I get notice of a wage levy?
We need to move immediately because usually we have to request a collection alternative such as an installment agreement to get the levy released.
Now, if you can't do that, or that's not going to be an effective solution, a Chapter 13 bankruptcy will immediately stop a levy also. So more than one tool in the tool shed to deal with that type of situation, but both require acting immediately. Because if the IRS has levied you and taken your money, they're not giving it back. Period.
They might.
What if I have a business and complicated question, but I want a quick answer. I have a business and I'm behind in my payroll taxes. What do I do?
Well, the first thing if you want to keep the business open is we're going to have to get you to start making your current deposits, not the back, the current deposits, and then we can work out a payment arrangement on the back or an offer.
All right, so the strategy there is get in compliance. As long as you're showing you're making the current payments, you can get the IRS to work with you?
Yes.
I would take a break, then we're going to come back and do a case study.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. Want to remind our viewers to listen to us Tuesdays 10 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m. for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, 93.5, 98.3, and 99.9 FM. And then on Saturdays 11 o'clock a.m. for Law and Reality Here and Now on WMUZ AM 1200. Be sure and sign up for our free contest. Every month, free $50 Visa gift card, Law and Reality hat, and copy of Dump Your Debt. Just go to the Law and Reality website, click on the link to sign up, and you're in. We have seminars coming up. On Wednesday, September 26th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., September is the time for my debt to fall. We're going to go through all the methods we use to preserve future income for you and your family. Solutions using bankruptcy, solutions outside of bankruptcy. Jenny Lingl is going to participate and give us a special segment on how to resolve tax issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. All of our seminars are free. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or do it the old-fashioned way and call 888-235-HELP. Then on Wednesday, October 17th, 6 to 7:30 p.m., we have a seminar called Estate Planning is Not an Option. We're going to go over all the elements of an estate plan, documents you must have while you're living, documents addressing issues after you pass away, how to address probate issues. Jeff Linden's going to join us along with Brian Small and myself. Attendees receive a $300 gold certificate off of the cost of an estate plan. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-HELP. You can always come into THAV Gross for a free consultation. You want to remember to do that. Go to the website, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com. You want to meet with Pat Samasco on elder law issues, Brian Small on estate planning issues, financial crisis issues, Jenny Lingl on tax issues, with me on business issues, Jeff Kirshner on disability and Social Security and workers' compensation claims. Just go to the website, sign up, and we'll call you back and schedule the appointment. Also, be sure and check out the free reports on the website. We have a great report on how to save your home from foreclosure. Pat Samasco has a Retiree's Guide to Social Security. And we also have a report on business formations, loans and grants for small businesses in Michigan. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Samasco Law, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
Nothing provokes panic and fear like the threat of a school shooting. Unfortunately, we've seen a sharp increase in students making copycat threats in order to gain notoriety. I'm Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith. Students, this behavior will not be tolerated. Felony charges will be brought against anyone who threatens the safety of our schools. Parents, please talk to your children and pass along this message. If you threaten our schools, it will cost you your future.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, to wrap up this segment on the truth about taxes, let's do a simple case study. Let's take Al and Betty. They owe taxes for 2011 through 2016, $100,000 in taxes. Al is now disabled. He was injured. He cannot work. His total income used to be $100,000 a year, but now their total income is Betty's making $25,000, and that's it. They have limited equity in their home, say $20,000. They have $40,000 in their IRA. They've got credit card debt. They've got the tax debt. What do we do? What should Al and Betty do about their taxes? And what should they do about the credit card debt? And what about the disability? I'm going to give each one of you a shot. Jenny, you go first. What about the taxes?
So the first thing that I would look at is they owe for 2011 through 2016. So 2016 is not dischargeable in bankruptcy until 2020, because that would be 3 years from when it came due. So what I would likely do is put them in currently not collectible, and then plan for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy when the 2016 becomes dischargeable.
So is it up to you to put them in currently not collectible? Because if it's you who gets to do that, is it possible that you could put me in currently not collectible so that I don't, because I'm going to be filing my tax return very shortly, and I would rather not write the check. I would rather just go in Currently not collectible. Can you put me in that drawer is what I want to know.
I might be able to. You never know, Ken. But what's going to happen is, based on their current income and their situation, it looks like even though they have money in their IRA, the people that we would work with the IRS would see that they're going to need that money to make their basic allowable living expenses.
They've gotten hit. They now have no income. Al's disabled. They're in a very difficult situation. You think you can save their IRA?
Yes, I think so, because I think we can get them in the uncollectible, which is typically good for at least 24 months, which would give us time to plan for his disability and also to plan to file to discharge all of the taxes.
What about his disability? You're going to file for disability for him?
Absolutely. As long as he had worked 5 of the past 10 years, he clearly has. We can file a claim for disability.
How long till he gets his money?
It'll take about 18 to 24 months, more likely than not. You usually get denied on your initial application, which is usually in about 3 to 4 months when you apply. So he'll have to have a hearing. We'll get him his money probably 18 to 20 months, thereabouts.
If he was making $100,000 a year in the years that he was earning income and paying in credits, what do you think he'll get per month?
My guess is $2,200, $2,300 a month.
All right, so that's something for Al. It's not going to replace his $75,000 of lost income.
Right, but he's got to be careful that you at least have to file your taxes in order for you to get credit for you paying into the system.
We need to address those issues.
Right.
Brian?
So
credit card debt?
There's a combination here. The credit card debt, I can keep the balls in the air for forever.
So for sure, don't pay the credit card debt.
No, never pay the. We're not going to pay the credit card
Al. I'm just going to take the $40,000 in my IRA and I'm going to pay off the credit cards. I don't want the pressure of them calling me.
So they can call me.
It'd be a big mistake for Al to take the $40,000, the only cash he has, and give it to the credit card debt. Al's got to focus on what? Feeding himself and Betty.
And timing. It
and
is
keeping his
critical
house.
Because as Jeff is working on getting Al his disability award, I have to file the bankruptcy for Al before Al receives the Social Security disability payout.
But you got the problem with Jenny. She wants to wait till 2020 to get rid of the 2016
We might get
Jacksons.
there. We might not get there. Remember, it's a 18 to 24 month process with regard to Social Security disability. The timing is everything. As long as the check has not been received by the client from the Social Security disability, he gets to keep that big lump sum he gets after he files the bankruptcy. If he receives it beforehand, we have to spend it down and it has to be gone.
All right, let me try and summarize it. It's a priority analysis that we have to look at Al and Betty's situation. Priorities in this case, number 1, get his disability. That's his number 1 goal because we need every income we can get for that family. Number 2, secondary priority, Jenny's not worried about the taxes. She can put him in currently not collectible and buy time because their circumstance warrants it. Brian's not overly worried about the credit card debt. Just don't pay it. We'll deal with the problem. And then we sort it out so we get the Social Security money first. And then at that point we have the taxes under control and we get rid of the credit card debt down the road. It's a deal that we can make work, but you have to think it through carefully. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality. Thanks for tuning in.